I'm Susan Mallon. I'm a former WIMARQ chair. It's a job you can't get out of for life. My other former WIMARQ chairs are still here helping today, and a former RAW winner, and it's my pleasure to be the Mistress of Ceremonies today. So normal housekeeping issues, alarms, beep beep, not very interesting, finish your Danish, whoop whoop, time to get excited. Out that way, glass doors, down Merivale Street, follow the convention centre staff, and we will assemble at the green area in front of TAFE. Ladies and gents toilets, we have two options, either through there or out the doors you came in and down to the left. Lucky door prizes this morning. We have a selection of wines, so if you missed getting your business card into one of the vases or containers on the registration, there will be some people running around at the moment, so please make yourself known to them so you don't miss out. We would also like to acknowledge our official table sponsors, Origin Energy, BHP, Billiton Mitsui Coal, and New Hope Group. Right, that's the boring stuff. Now, welcome one and all. It is wonderful to see such support from the resources sector for International Women's Day and the RAW Awards yet again. A special welcome to all the school students from the QMEA schools, and we also have students attending regional events in Mackay, Mount Isa, Moranbah and Townsville. It's no secret to anyone in this room that the resources industries, both in Queensland and globally, continue to be particularly challenging. So it's very reassuring to see companies hosting both their employees and guests here and across the state this morning. Your commitment is both acknowledged and appreciated. Furthermore, it is recognition that companies with diverse and high-performing teams, adapting to both the challenges and opportunities of the current times, will be best placed to prevail. We are now in the second decade of our awards. Second decade, 11 years. In a dynamic and complex sector such as ours, this is quite an achievement. By way of contrast, since the RAW Awards began, Australia is on its 6th Prime Minister, and we've prevailed throughout that time, which some would say is in no way, no small part due to social media, which we are embracing for this year, but we promise to use our forces for good, not evil. So we're moving with the times, and the event is being streamed this morning through social media, including Twitter. So please join the conversation using our Twitter handle, which is #WomenRAW, R-A-W, for Resources Awards for Women, as opposed to RAW. There should be some things on your desks, on your tables there. So we'll be sharing some of the tweets received with you this morning. So I'm advised to tell you to start tweeting happily. Along with the tweets coming in and the nearly 500 people in this room here, we have a record this year for regional sites. Nearly 400 guests are at the other end of the wire. So, ladies and gents out there across the state, starting in the Bowen Basin, we have guests at the Mackay Entertainment and Convention Centre, the trusty Black Nugget Hotel in Moranbah, and at Blackwater in the Wesfarmers Curragh SPQ Village. I'm not sure what SPQ means, if it's better or worse, but SPQ Village. Heading further north to the Ridges in Townsville, and then out west to the Red Earth Hotel in Mount Isa, and we have folks in the Ernest Henry Village, north of Cloncurry, and then finally, way up north to the Rio Tinto Boardroom in Weipa. This is truly a whole of Queensland affair this morning, ladies and gents. In global terms, the geographic spread of this broadcast is equivalent going from Madrid up to Berlin and down to Venice. Eurovision may soon be on the phone asking for more than just Dami M and Guy Sebastian. So, everyone here in Brisbane, I think it's appropriate of us to say hi to everyone out in the regions. I want you a big, enthusiastic good morning. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Good morning! So, rest assured, it's not a one-way feed. We will be hearing from some of the other sites throughout the morning, should technology be on our side. We're very fortunate to have a truly unique and remarkable guest speaker for you this morning, and also a wonderful group of 2016 RAW Award winners to announce. So without further ado, I'll now ask Michael Roach, Chief Executive of the Queensland Resources Council, to get us rolling. Mr. Roach, come on up.
Thanks, Susan. Every year Susan says, this is the last one she's going to do, and she's back again, and she's great. Happy International Women's Day, everyone, and it is the actual day. And a very good morning, everyone, and welcome to the longest running resource sector International Women's Day celebration in Australia. As Susan has said, this is our 11th successive breakfast and awards event. Firstly, let me acknowledge the Turrbal people, the traditional owners of the land on which this event is taking place, and their elders, both past and present. Also recognise those whose ongoing efforts to protect and promote Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures will leave a lasting legacy for future elders and leaders. Also acknowledge our special guests here today. Minister for Employment and Industrial Relations, Minister for Racing and Minister for Multicultural Affairs, the Honourable Grace MP, who has been a long-time supporter of this event. And Grace is appropriately dressed in International Women's Day colours. Also to John Paul Langbroek, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, likewise a great supporter of QRC events. From our major sponsor, Rio Tinto, we have Group Executive Technology and Innovation, Greg Lilliman. Greg, QRC very much values Rio Tinto's generous support of this event and ongoing commitment to QRC and WIMARQ diversity programs. We have QRC President Stuart Butel from Wesfarmers Resources, QRC Vice President Ragad from BMA. From the Department of Natural Resources and Mines, our twin Deputy Directors General, Sue Ryan and Rachel Cronin. We have back our first female QRC President, Nicole Hollows. We have Peter Ho, President of the Queensland Chapter of Engineers Australia. And of course our very special guest speakers from Queensland Ballet, Li Cunxin, and from Peabody Energy, Jeanette Hewson, who will this morning hand over to this year's winner of the title of Exceptional Woman in Queensland Resources. And welcome one and all to those of you here in Brisbane, and of course to all those in the regions. I hope that it's cooled off for you up there in Mount Isa. I was there last week and it was 42. Here it's just a mild 36 today. Now, all going well, I think we have some messages in from one or more of our locations. If the technology works.
I'm one of the Mount Isa QMEA ambassadors, and we would all like to wish the finalists good luck. 2, 3. Happy International Women's Day!
As you can see, some big groups out in Queensland regions. Ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to see you here again to celebrate the depth of female talent that we have in our amazing resources sector right here in Queensland. It's a sector that, despite the toughest times, still provides 1 in every 6 jobs in Queensland and 1 in every $5 of the state's economy. And your presence here is proof positive that we do remain committed to our goal of at least 20% women in non-traditional roles, those roles such as executive management, engineering, trades and operators and production workers. That's a goal by 2020. Reaching this target is not getting any easier, but when I read the entries for this year's awards, my confidence in our industry's commitment to diversity was reconfirmed. The breadth of female talent in our industry is proof also that this sector remains resilient, with an eye to the future, and in this instance to ensure that we have the diverse workforce so necessary for the innovation that will keep us globally competitive. So, ladies and gentlemen, since 2006, when the resources sector across Australia really began its journey to improve the gender balance of our workforce, the number of women in our sector has increased by 85% to just under 33,000, according to the ABS data. Now, being an economist, I just love these statistics, but it's the individual stories that move me, the stories I've read over the past 10 years when entries have come in for these awards. Like the story of an Indigenous haul truck driver who told us she never dreamed of ever owning her own home and providing for her children in the way that she now can. There are an additional 15,000 stories like these Australia-wide of women who have taken up new opportunities in challenging, interesting and well-paid roles since 2006. So while the task is not easy, the rewards are immense for the individual women, their families and our companies, because the companies enjoy increased innovation, improved workplace culture and more productive businesses. And governments who have any plans to toy with our ability to roll out those sort of innovations and productive advancements should think again. The growth of this landmark annual event, from 200 people in 2006 to more than 800 across the state today, along with the introduction of Women in Resources National Awards in 2014, is an indicator of the commitment of our businesses to workforce diversity. I also want to call out the inaugural QRC WIMARQ Professional Mentoring Program for Women, which concluded last year, and recognise the Queensland Government's support that made it possible. John Paul, I particularly recognise your support for the program as former Minister for Education, Employment and Training. This highly successful program placed high-achieving resources women with high-level mentors from resources companies in a structured program. The results for the women and the mentors were outstanding, and plans are underway to continue the program with the support of QRC member companies, and hopefully, Minister Grace, continued support from the Queensland Government. But I am delighted to announce that QRC member company BH Billiton Mitsui has pledged to support the continuation of the mentoring program as foundation partners in a 4-year partnership agreement. And I also thank Glencore Copper for coming on board as a bronze partner. These are important commitments to retaining our sector's high-achieving women. I also call out WIMARQ, a dedicated band of volunteers who continue, with QRC's support and the backing of AusIMM, to provide networking and professional development opportunities for women both in Brisbane and throughout Queensland's regions. A highlight of last year's program was a regional roadshow with Specialist Women's Financial Advisor Helen Baker. And Helen, I recognise your presence here today, and thank you for your ongoing work in helping women to achieve pay equity and managing their finances, and to steal your motto, buy more shoes. I didn't realise that my wife Jenny had done Helen's program. Queensland Women and Companies also had success in the second annual Women in Resources National Awards presented in Perth. Santos won the Company Excellence in Diversity and Performance Award for their gender equality program, and Queensland finalists Tees, together with Wesfarmers and Salvation Army, were runners-up for their Sisters in Mining program. Jackie McGill, who was at that stage Asset President at BMC, based here in Brisbane, won the National Diversity Champion Award. Unfortunately, she can't be here today, as Jackie, BHP Billiton's first female Asset President, is now running the big Olympic Dam operation in South Australia. So, ladies and gentlemen, attracting and retaining women in our sector will continue to take leadership from the very top and bold strategies. I give you the example of Horizon's new target of 30% female employees by the end of 2019. This means a doubling of its female workforce while continuing to transform the company from a government-owned business. Horizon's Chief Executive, Lance Hockridge, put it this way in a recent newspaper interview. So I quote Lance: "Blokes have had the inside run for 150 years in this organisation. This is not about discrimination against men. It's about discrimination in favour of a diverse and inclusive workforce." Well said, Lance. In closing, I wish the winners of the 2016 Resources Awards for Women every success in the National Awards this year, to be hosted in Adelaide in September. And I look forward to continuing to work with our member companies and with WIMARQ to meet or surpass our 20% goal by 2020. Now it is my pleasure to once again thank Rio Tinto for their generous support of today's event, and welcome to the stage Rio Tinto Group Executive Technology and Innovation, Greg Lillyman.
Rio Tinto's story has been the world's story. It's been a story of learning and improving, of growing and progressing, of challenge and opportunity, and a story of pride and change. Building a world-class business is a job that's never finished. So we're not just proud of what we have done throughout our history. We're proud of making Rio Tinto even stronger and more resilient for the next 140 years.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for the introduction, Michael. It's an absolute honour to be here today, and I'd like to personally start by congratulating not only all of the finalists in this year's Resources Awards for Women, but to all the women who participate in the resources and mining industry. It's a wonderful industry that I'm sure you all enjoy just as much as I do. Rio Tinto is proud to support initiatives such as WIMARQ. We're committed to helping improve the representation of women, not only in our business now, but also into the future. I'm sure many of you know about Rio Tinto, but just let me give you a bit of background. We operate in 40 countries. We have about 55,000 employees worldwide. Like all the rest of you, we work in a pretty challenging world with complex global and local challenges that really need to be solved. And we need to develop and retain the core skills required to efficiently and effectively run our businesses. Talented professionals from diverse backgrounds with diverse skills. The industry must play an integral role in ensuring there is a better gender balance in the mining and resources industry. And by encouraging women to consider what are previously male-dominated professions and supporting them by building a more inclusive work environment, we'll be able to ensure they're part of an expanding pipeline of female employees. The key for Rio Tinto is not only to create a workplace which is diverse, but to ensure we create the conditions where all of our employees feel included and have the ability to reach their full potential. We're doing this because it's the right thing to do and it makes good business sense. Having a diverse workforce means improved performance and results. I've seen it firsthand. We're committed to encouraging a flexible working environment to attract and retain talented women and men, which ultimately lead to improved outcomes for both our people and business. And this is about working together to challenge and push the boundaries, building knowledge, and thereby helping to shape the future. Targets help our leaders instill the right behaviour change into the business. Michael talked a minute ago about the targets that Lance has introduced at Horizon. We're working towards a target of 20% women in our senior management ranks, and we're currently at 18.1%. Our female graduate intake target is 40%, and currently exceeding that last year at 43%. In 2016, we've also set ourselves targets around improving the representation of employees from underrepresented nationalities in senior management, monitoring gender balance in our middle management pipeline, and measuring actions around inclusion. Some of you may know that I represent Rio Tinto on Australia's Male Champions of Change, a group of 25 leaders from across Australia who are stepping up beside women to help create meaningful change in the gender equality in our workplaces. Rio Tinto has recently committed to becoming a white ribbon accredited workplace as a start of our workplace response to domestic violence. Safety at Rio Tinto is our number one priority, as it is, I'm sure, in many of your businesses. And we recognise that it isn't just limited to the workplace. Keeping each other safe extends beyond work and into the home. About 1.4 million Australian women are living in an abusive relationship or have done so in the past. Our workplaces are often the only safe haven for people experiencing domestic or family violence, and we need to make sure that we have the right mechanisms in place to support them. Family and domestic violence is a workplace issue. We recognise that we're very early in the journey towards eliminating domestic violence, but we see this as a critically important issue. It's again both the right thing to do, but also with real bottom line impacts. We'll continue to actively work towards improving the representation of women and people from nationalities which are underrepresented in our business, building an inclusive culture in which everyone can thrive, and taking a stand against family and domestic violence. I wish all of the finalists here today the best of luck, and thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Greg. You can have your breakfast in peace now. And thank you also to Rio Tinto for sponsorship of the event this morning. So, the snapshots you saw previously from the regional sites were from Mount Isa and Blackwater. Hopefully we now have Weipa and Moranbah. Please. They might come back to us soon. They're just having their breakfast. I would now like to welcome the 2015 Raw winner, Jeanette Hewson, Director Services, Supply Chain Management for Peabody Energy Australia. Thank you, Jeanette.
I'd love to get out there and talk to as many people as I can, both people in our regions who are actually at sites and in operational roles, and I'd really be keen to get involved more in encouraging girls at schools to think about non-traditional university courses that will lead to resources. I think there's some great opportunities, and I'd be really happy if in a year's time I've achieved that. Good morning, everyone, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and I wanted to say a special good morning to all our friends in regional Queensland. Two places that are dear to my heart are Moranbah, where we've got lots of our colleagues there, so good morning to you, and also Mount Isa, where I was born. It's the home of champions, as they say. When I received my award last year, I'd just started in a new role at Peabody, and times were tough for the resources sector. So a year later, I find myself here in another new role, I must say, and I have to admit, though, that times are even tougher for our industry. In light of this, I wanted to talk this morning about resilience and reinvention. I think these are critical skills that we all need at this time. I have to admit that I prepared for my speech during a long flight from the US over the weekend. I had a busy week meeting with my US colleagues because I have started a new role. And when I got on the flight, I'm sure you can appreciate that the last thing I really wanted to do was write a speech. I decided I was going to watch some movies because I'm a very good procrastinator. As a working mum, I have 3 children, and most of my movie watching seems to be kids' movies. So this was a great experience for me. In fact, the last movie I'd seen was The Chipmunks, which just gives you a feel for the rock that I live under. So I thought I'd excuse my procrastination with the excuse that I was doing some research into my themes of resilience and reinvention. So let me justify how I found that. So what I did was I started with the latest James Bond movie. What could I take away from that, I'm sure you're asking? Well, I learnt that if I was ever in the middle of the African desert while under pressure, that it was very important to look, very effortlessly elegant and tailored like James Bond and his female lead. I must say that I never looked that good when my family crossed the Simpson Desert a few years ago. I realised where I went wrong. I wasn't wearing a beige silk blouse, matching tailored trousers, stunning high heels, and my hair was very messy during that occasion. But having said that, we had a great time in the Simpson Desert, and I really did appreciate the hot shower that waited for us at the Birdsville Hotel. So the next movie I decided to watch was The Dressmaker. Now, while this was a sad movie, what stood out for me was the great Australian spirit and our sense of humour. So we all need that during 2016. We must remember to laugh and enjoy ourselves, especially when things are tough at work. That's a key way of staying resilient. So see, my speech is going somewhere. It will all fall together. So the next one I watched, this is a triple movie marathon, was The Martian. Now, has anyone not seen The Martian? Can you just give me a show of hands? Okay. Now, I was a skeptic. I thought, a movie with a title like The Martian, And it's a storyline about an astronaut who's left on Mars by his crew. And in fairness to his crew, they were leaving in a hurry and they thought he was dead. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have a crack at this one. But I found that movie to be truly inspirational, and it reinforced that theme of resilience and reinvention. Let me explain why. What seemed an impossible goal in that film, which was how to stay alive with very limited amount of food, water and communication, was broken up into basic problem solving. He solved one problem, then he solved the next problem, and then he solved the next, and it just went on and on and on. While he was on his own, he eventually restored communications with a large team of truly clever people who were forced to do things in a very different way to before and in a very compressed time frame. That message seems really relevant to where we find our industry today. The lead character showed great resilience, and he refused to give up even when things went against him. See, my procrastination was paying off. I had true inspiration for my speech. So after my movie marathon, you'll be surprised to know that I was a bit tired, so I went to sleep. But I did wake up and I thought, right, now is the time. So I got my laptop out and I thought I should have some music while I'm doing this. So I went to the Qantas music selection, and surprisingly I chose the Ultimate Kylie album by Kylie Minogue. Now, as someone of a similar age as Kylie, I do remember the early days of her career, a la Locomotion. And I must say I remember that with a bit of a shudder, and I have an analogy to the early days of my career as well, where I look back and think, did I really do that, or did I really say that? But you've got to hand it to Kylie. She's been in the business for almost 30 years, and no matter whether she's your cup of tea or not, just have a think about how she's reinvented herself and kept her relevance over the years. She's kept herself fresh. She's also had some really difficult personal challenges, including her health. So hats off to you, Kylie. You're a good role model for us all in reinventing ourselves. So you've obviously got the feel that I had a really good time on my flight home. I enjoyed the peace and quiet. But how does this all tie in with my themes for today in terms of reinvention and resilience? Well, times are tough. I've said that about 4 times now, and I know you all know that. But we just can't keep doing business the same way, and we also have to approach our career development in a different way as well. So some of you might say that it's really difficult in these times when retention rates are high to actually seek out some promotional opportunities. That's been the case for a number of years now, but I've had 3 roles since the downturn and a promotion, so I think it is possible. It's often these times that actually give us the most opportunities for our career development. You might have an opportunity to take on a new role or take on extra responsibilities. And if that opportunity is not offered to you, you need to be able to talk to your manager, put your hand up and ask for those, and talk to others in the business about wanting to build new skills. I think that my last 2 roles at Peabody have actually come from the fact that I stepped up about 2 years ago and put up my hand to run a different role while doing the same role that I had. I think it showed that I was interested, and I also showed that I could deliver, and that is reinvention. We all have less people than we've ever had before, whether we work at sites or in head offices, and we're all focusing on how to do more with less. So this applies whether we're truck drivers, whether we're fitters, whether we're enviros, engineers, HR or tax specialists, if we work in a prep plant. There's lots of opportunities out there to take on new duties or roles. So I'm a firm believer of sideways steps, taking on extra duties and doing whatever you can to gain new experience and skills. Also, I think it's really important that you be comfortable in taking on risks. Some women I speak to aren't keen to do it because they've never done something like that before. What you have to remember, though, is that when you're in an organisation where you know your colleagues, you know your business, and they know you, it is a very low-risk move, and I encourage you all to think about that. So the reinvention part, I think, is easy once you've done it a few times. Just ask Kylie. So, what about my reinvention? So I've took on a new role last month, And it's a little bit of deja vu in that I've returned to my legal background, but I've also taken on the role of government relations, which was the clincher for me, something I've wanted to do for a long time. So while I'm not a government relations expert by any stretch of the imagination, I look at the skills I've accumulated over the years, particularly when I worked in the environment and energy area of our business. So it's a little bit like a career toolbox. You pick up skills and one day you'll be able to use those again. So how am I going to reinvent myself in my legal role? I'd forgotten how diverse the job was and how intellectually challenging it is, but in the 5 years that I haven't been a lawyer in our business, I've become a very fussy client, and I'm hoping that I bring that across to my new role. I don't like complicated advice, and I want it to make it as user-friendly and practical as possible. So I'm constantly challenging my internal team and my external team to explain things simply. I ask them to make it simple and practical because if I can't understand it, other people may not either. So I hope that I've given you something to work with there in terms of reinventing yourselves. I do want to talk a bit about this resilience piece. I think it's about building resistance both in yourself for your own career as well as to ride out your day-to-day work in tough times. Times are challenging, but we need to remain focused and positive. One thing I find enormously helpful is to focus on what I can control. I can't change the coal price or the gas price if I was working in the gas industry, but I can control my team's costs and make sure that we work as productively and efficiently as we can. So you've got to think of it like the astronaut in The Martian. Fix one problem and then move to the next. But you need to keep a sense of humour and remain focused all the way along. Resilience is really critical in our own careers, so don't get put off if you don't succeed in a goal. Set yourself a new goal or change the way you're going to approach that previous goal. And don't lose confidence in your abilities if you have a setback. That one took me a long while to actually learn, but once I did, it's quite a powerful tool to have. I'd like to finish off this morning with some challenges for both the industry and also for you personally. I want to thank the QRC for your continued leadership in promoting women in the energy and resources sector. These awards highlight the talent we have in our industry and offer us a chance to stop and celebrate success, which is even more important in the tough times. It helps build our industry's resilience, so let's celebrate our winners today and remember our collective achievements. We need to keep encouraging diversity in our businesses despite the fact that there is a downturn. More than ever, we need different views and ideas to tackle our challenges. So let's make sure that we all do what we can to encourage diversity in our decision making, and let's use today's awards as a talking point within our companies and to continue to raise the importance of diversity. But I'd also like to leave you with a personal challenge. A good friend of mine said to me straight after last year's breakfast that it was always interesting to see what the award winner did the following year because invariably they did something different. So that gave me a fair bit of pressure last year, as you can imagine. I kept hearing my friend's words throughout the year, and I was starting to feel a little bit nervous about turning up here and having the same job, I must say. But I was grateful for being given a challenge, and sometimes we really do need that from our good colleagues and friends. I reminded myself of her message throughout the year, and when an opportunity arose, I took on the challenge. So thank you, Kristen. But I encourage you all to set a goal for yourselves for what do you want to achieve in this next year. Share that goal with a close colleague and take a stock take at next year's breakfast. Remember, you're going to need resilience, reinvention, and don't forget the humour along the way. Thank you.
Linga. So thank you very much, Jeanette. Obviously a very worthy winner of the 2015 award. I have a little gift for you here. If I find the right one. Which is a bird in hand, a nice South Australian sparkling, and my dad always said a bird in hand's better than two in the bush. And I think if I was going to be stuck on a desert island or a planet with Matt Damon teaching me about resilience, that I could probably cope with that. It's better than a lot of other sites I've been stuck on. Now, No offence to any former colleagues. Lift your game. Okay. Weeper, Moranbah, how are we?
Good morning from Moranbah. Good luck to all the award nominees.
Ready? And it's hi from Mackay.
Excellent. And just to share some of the tweets coming in as promised, I haven't screened these in any particular order. The yogurt looks amazing. Good news, no kale in sight. Exciting to be the equivalent of the Oscars for mining this morning. Today we're presenting #WomenRaw Awards to some amazing women in the mining and resources in Queensland. We are from coal, oil and gas, base metals and nearly all minerals and resources in Queensland. Jeanette Hewson has 3 kids and is a superstar, very inspirational. At 65, Cicely. I'm not sure who that is, but I had a theory they were from Rio because their other one is Rio Tinto has some impressive statistics on diversity. Go, Greg. It is now my absolute pleasure to introduce Li Cunxin, Artistic Director of the Queensland Ballet and author of Mao's Last Dancer. He was also Queensland's national finalist for Australian of the Year in 2014 and 2009 Australian Father of the Year. Li, may I welcome you to the stage.
In the world.
A Chinese puzzle is taking place in Houston.
My family,
When I dance for them.
they see the light that's there inside of you.
Thank you, Susan, for your very nice introduction. And Jeanette, that was quite inspirational. It was what nice takeaways for people to think about. Ladies and gentlemen, first may I say just how delighted I am to be with you in this very important day for women. Needless to say that looking back at my life, several women have made immeasurable differences in my journey and truly influenced the important turning points, the outcome of my fate. Could I ask you to show me the first picture, please? This was the village I was born into. And of course, with all the resource boom we have had in Australia and around the world, those are the sort of sad-looking villages being torn down and being built into more beautiful apartments or warehouses or office buildings. But that was the village I was born into. And this was very much how I and my 6 brothers had grown up. We were living in such poverty. I was absolutely experiencing starvation nearly on a daily basis as a child. There were roughly between 35 to 40 million people died of starvation when I grew up. So many times as a child, you just wished your life just ended there and then. I can't tell you how many times I pondered just plunging myself head down into a deep well so I could relieve some misery for my parents, especially my poor mother, seeing the desperation on her face when she has nothing to serve her children at meal times. And my parents encouraged us to pick up the chopsticks to eat because they said they're not hungry. Of course they were. So we were fighting for our survival pretty much throughout my entire childhood. But along the way, there were times when everything seems lost. You lost all hope, courage to live on. Then there's the incredible love, courage, humor, wit from my dear mother. And she was the reason that we just kept on battling and hoping that perhaps one day an opportunity will come your way, just allow you a simple chance in life to do something good, to do something different, to do something perhaps great in your life. And my childhood dream was one day, if I should have such opportunity to do something good or perhaps successful, I could then come back to help the rest of my family to change their fate along the way. The one chance I had desperately dreamed was the chance to be a ballet dancer. Ballet, opera, music seemed so far away from our daily lives. We didn't know what ballet was. We were busy singing or reading "We Love You, Chairman Mao" text or songs. One morning, 4 people came from the Beijing Dance Academy, Madame Mao's people, and they were selecting talents to study ballet. When they left the room with one girl, my teacher, my female teacher, Teacher Sun, hesitated. She stood by the door. Eventually, she worked up her courage, tapped on the shoulder of a very last gentleman and said, "Excuse me, sir, what about that one?" And that one was me. That one moment changed my entire fate. Then I went through this grueling audition process. They went through millions of kids across China. And along the way, they measured every inch of our bodies. They pushed me against the corner of the wall. One person held one knee straight. The second person pushed both my shoulders hard against the corner of the walls. I could not move a single inch. And the third person forced my other leg up and up, high up in the air. As he forced my leg higher and higher, he kept asking me, "Does it hurt?" It was excruciating. They had torn both of my hamstrings that day. But stubbornly, I kept smiling, shook my head, and said, "No, it doesn't hurt." I realized then, if I've screamed out with pain that moment, which I desperately wanted to do, but if I've done so, that one, possibly only opportunity in my life would have taken away from me, may never have such a chance to return. So eventually, throughout China, they selected 44, and I was one of the lucky 44 kids being chosen. Just turned 11, I left my family for good. Studied ballet for 7 long years at the Beijing Dance Academy, talking about the importance of resilience. That's all you had to have. If you did not have it, you could not possibly survive a day or a week. The training regime was truly brutal. We started from 5:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. 6 days a week we trained. I was absolutely hopeless at the beginning. I had no ability to jump, no skills to turn. The 2 basic ingredients to become a good dancer. Could I show the next slide, please? Now, of course, I did not have those muscle strengths at that time. Every time I tried to leap in the air, I could hardly go to the ground up because I was so weak. Some of the teachers were laughing from my face, described my legs as overcooked spaghetti with no strength. And I couldn't turn either because as a child, I'd experienced this most horrific motion sickness. Couldn't even get on the bicycle without thinking I was going to throw my guts up. So before I even encountered or embarked on trying to achieve those amazing abilities, mentally I was defeated. I gave up. I was the laughing stock of the entire Beijing Dance Academy. On the verge of being fired, then along came this wonderful teacher, and he inspired me and motivated me and challenged me along the way to see ballet in a different light. Eventually, from hating ballet so much, I discovered my passion for this beautiful art form. And I then went on this incredibly motivated journey. The thought of becoming a good dancer perhaps will change my parents and my brothers' lives, be able to send a little bit of money home, to buy warm clothes, to buy a little bit of food so they won't be starved when they go to bed, was a true motivation for me. And I would often get myself out at 5 o'clock in the morning, often earlier when others still deep asleep. Strapped heavy sandbags on both my ankles, hopped one-legged up and down on 4 levels of stairs. I hopped like mad. For my turns, I would sneak away into a dark ballet studio, and which you are not allowed to be up after 9 o'clock at night because all the lights went pitch black throughout the academy. I could not possibly turn on the light being discovered and sent back to home. I would light this candle. In front of this little candlelight, I kept on spinning and turning. I can't tell you how many times I felt so dreadfully sick and threw up right in front of me, or how many times I fell down right on my bums. But each time, I tried to pick myself up again, kept telling myself, don't forget your parents. Don't forget that what you want to do to help them. Eventually, through incredible amount of determination, hard work, and resilience, I graduated at the top of my class. Was considered the best Chinese dancer they had ever produced. That was 1979 when I graduated at the top of my class. And then America sent their first cultural delegation to China under Nixon. There was a famous ballet director from America, taught 2 master classes in my academy, immediately discovered me along with another student. He offered us scholarships to study in America. And we're going to be the very first 2 exchange students ever being sent out of the communist China. We were petrified because the American society, the Western world, seemed so filthy and dark and miserable. That was how we were brainwashed to believe by Mao's political propaganda. Arriving there was truly a profound shock. Everything seemed turned upside down. The 18 years of brainwash didn't seem quite fit. What inspired me the most was the freedom people enjoyed, not the nice clothes they wore, even though that was very nice, not the boundless food, incredible choices people have in their lives, but it's the freedom to dream, freedom to do whatever you wanted to do. The empowerment in that freedom is truly phenomenal, beyond our wildest dreams. That was truly the reason I wanted to stay in the Western world, just to prove to myself how far I could go with my life. But little did I know that one defection, one decision nearly lost my life. I was held against my will, being locked up inside the Chinese consulate in Houston for over 21 hours. There were 2 simple choices I had to choose that night. One, if I give in to their demand, if I go back to China, my life would be spared. But I would forever live a life without total freedom. The second choice was bleak. If I refused, my life would most likely end there. First time in my life, I was forced to dig down deep to do incredible soul searching. And eventually come down to this, a simple question. How do you value your life? What does it all mean? And one important realization I discovered that night was you should never value your life based on how long you lived, but rather how you lived. What contribution have you made? How you helped others? What differences have you made to the society? But also as a peasant boy, brought up in a very humble, honest way by my parents. They always taught us to live a life with honesty, dignity, and pride. So I knew that night I only had one option, is to be honest, to be dignified, even though my life could be taken away that night. but at least I would have died with my belief firm intact, didn't compromise it. We came to a standoff between the Chinese consulate officials and I. What I didn't realize, because Barbara Bush, who was on our board at the Houston Valley at the time, and having her husband as the vice president of the United States, it was a help. Eventually, between the negotiations of the top leaders of the two countries, when I'm talking about top leaders, Deng Xiaoping, Ronald Reagan, they all involved. Eventually, I was released as a free man. And I felt true sense of freedom for the first time in 20 years. And I promised myself that from that moment onwards, I would forever strive for excellence, never happy to accept mediocrity outcome, and strive making a positive difference. So I eventually went on to become one of the top 10 dancers in the world, winning 2 silver, bronze medals at 3 different international ballet competitions. But no matter how successful I became as a dancer, I was deeply unhappy. I was emotionally imbalanced. And at any moment, I know I could be ticked over, and my successful career could be derailed. The reason for that was the minute I walked out of the Chinese consulate as a free man, I had lost everything I loved so dearly back in China. I lost my mother, father, 6 brothers, and all the people I loved back home. I couldn't even write a letter home, completely cut off. Sometimes simply ate a piece of meat or fish, I was wondering what my poor mother home be eating. Eventually, years later, when I was dancing the Prince in Swan Lake in Washington, D.C., a couple of days before the opening night, Barbara Bush invited my director and I to the White House for tea. It was during that meeting she learned about my difficulties with China. What I didn't realize was on the opening night of my performance, she and George Bush invited the Chinese ambassador and cultural attaché to see me dance. They asked the Chinese guests if they could help me with my China situation. How could I think they're going to ever help somebody like me? But to my utter surprise, the Chinese government eventually granted my parents the permission to leave China to visit me in America. What an impossible dream had come true for us. They couldn't read or write, never left their hometown before, never went in a car, on a train, on an airplane before, never seen their son dance before. They can experience all of these things in that one single trip. The night they were to arrive was the opening night of a huge performance. And they were supposed to get there before the show started, but their plane was terribly delayed. Some of the friends went to the airport to meet them so I could concentrate on my performance. When they realized my parents were going to miss my performance, they desperately called up everybody for help, including the Houston police. Eventually, the police car came with sirens, escorted them through the heavy traffic. My director then decided to wait for them. He delayed the performance to wait for them to arrive. When my parents finally arrived, over 20 minutes late, the whole audience started applauding for them. There were a lot of teary eyes in the audience that night. The worst of them all was my poor mother. With tears flooding down her face, I truly didn't think she saw a single thing I did on stage that night. That was such an incredible highlight, both for my parents and for me. From that moment onwards, my relationship with China gradually changed. I was eventually allowed to do and serve China in a meaningful way, to be a positive ambassador. And during my career, I met another wonderful woman, the love of my life, Mary McKendry, who happened to be a Queenslander. Born in Brisbane, raised in Rocky, and she was a beautiful ballerina on the London stage when I met her in London when I was dancing there. And she was the reason I came back to dance my final 3.5 years as a principal dancer with the Australian Ballet. And she's also the reason why I came to Queensland as the director of your state ballet company, the Queensland Ballet. It's truly a dream come true for me as a dancer, retired dancer, to meet the demands of educating my 3 children, to help my 6 brothers in China to get onto a sound financial footing, to help them start businesses. And I decided to try the financial market. So I went to become a stockbroker for over 10 years and did rather well. And by the way, I have shares in quite a few of the resource companies. And in fact, I just bought more for my children recently. I'm a true believer in the important role the resource sector have to play, not only in our prosperity of the nation, but also the prosperity of the world. Times like this, we should never lose faith. We should never lose the self-belief. And that's what I have learned so much throughout my life. I can't tell you how many times I want to chuck in the towels. I felt a band against a brick wall, my face bloodied. My insecurity overcame me. The dark shadows of yourself seems just surround you and want to swallow you up. But as a peasant child, I know the minute you give up, the minute you allow the self-doubt to seep inside of you, you are already defeated. You have lost the chance. You have most likely lost the will to fight on. You can't allow yourself ever go there. Because as long as you don't throw in the towels, you really have a chance to take another step forward and another step forward. Each step you march forward, the doubters, the negativities, and the hurdles, the difficulties, the challenges will give way. They tend to give way to the most determined. They tend to give way to the most courageous. The other thing I would like to say to you is I believe in communities, in a cohesive, compassionate, and a selfless society. If you bond together, if you share similar visions, similar beliefs, if you have the big heart, the honesty, the generosity towards others, and the best outcome, you get the best return from people you affect. And in return, together, we can make an incredible society. We can together leaving a positive legacy our children can truly enjoy. Just one word on Queensland Ballet. Could I show the next slide, please? I know I'm probably in a different industry to yours. I'm inspired by your company's goal of 20 or 30% of female in the workforce, and thinking about the diversity, the importance of diversity and balance, gender balance. I truly believe it's very important. And I think also we should not be just talking about these kind of targets. It's very important to really have the courage to enact on them as soon as possible. And it's all about empowering individuals to try and to achieve their best. In return, they will make a positive contribution to your company and to the society as a whole. But on Queensland Ballet, I'm pleased to say, even though we do need a lot of ballerinas, beautiful ballerinas, but I just sort of quickly did a mental calculation. I think we have over 70% female in our company. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lee, for sharing your story of success based on sacrifice, hard work, and an amazing ability to rise above adversity. I think everyone can take something out of absolutely every word you said today, but obviously some themes resonate, one of them being the impact some people had on your life that were particularly profound, your teacher who took you aside and helped you, and maybe we should challenge ourselves to be that person in someone else's life, whether it's in our business or in our professional capacity. And I think the phrase about remember how you live and what you value is something we can certainly all take away. Given that it's Lee's first foray into resources in Queensland, I was told I had to give him a bit of an induction. So you haven't been on site if you haven't had high vis. We haven't got a bad meal for you to have and a dusty road, but here we go. There we are. Not the best vest I'm sure you've ever had. Welcome. But wait, there's more. And thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, please show your appreciation for our wonderful guests. Now, we're very fortunate, Lee has kindly agreed to do a book signing. So immediately after the breakfast this morning, just out on the registration desk while you picked up your name tags, he will be signing some books. He has copies of his acclaimed autobiography, Mao's Last Dancer, which will be available for cash purchases as a softcover and the DVD. And there's also copies of a children's hardcover book called The Peasant Prince. Thank you, Lee. Now, if technology is on my side, we have sunny Townsville coming through. Hello from Townsville. That's Townsville. Okay, down to the business end of the morning, the Resources Awards for Women. The Resources Awards acknowledge and promote the contributions and achievements of women in the mining and energy sector, whilst advocating the industry as a career option for women. The RAW Awards also provide valuable female role models and ambassadors for our sector. To help us present the 2016 Resources Awards for Women, please welcome to the stage the Honourable Grace Grace, Member of Parliament for Brisbane Central, Stuart Butel, QRC President and Managing Director, Wesfarmers Resources, along with Heather Parry, Project Development Manager for Tees Mining and WIMARQ Chair. The beautiful trophies that will be presented are the work of acclaimed Yamundi glass artist Tina Cooper. Now, some logistics instructions. Anyone who is a nominee, listen to me right now, please. We're going to run it like a tight ship today so that we have some more time for networking at the end. So when you hear your name called, if you could please come to the stage via this set of stairs, have a little meet and greet, shake, photo taken, and then pop over towards the Rio Tinto sign and wait for the finalists to be called. I think that's everything I need to tell you. Yes, that's it. Okay, our first category to be presented this morning is the Exceptional Female QMEA Student. The QMEA is Australia's largest and most successful industry and education schools partnership between the Queensland resources sector, represented by the QRC, and the Queensland Government. Through its school industry partnerships, the QMEA's 35 schools around the state offer programs and experiences to broaden students' and teachers' knowledge and provide pathways for young people into resource-related careers. Many quality applications were received this year, for the Exceptional QMEA Student, which have been narrowed down to 5 finalists. The first finalist is Tara Toshak.
In my role as a QMEA Ambassador and member of the Young Scientists of Australia, I aim to be a positive role model who can offer support and counsel to younger girls looking to enter pathways in the resource sector, and have submitted a number of written pieces to school and local publications, the most recent being on the importance of mentoring in STEM fields for young girls. Having the ability to have an impact on and give guidance to other girls who have an interest in these careers has given me a sense of pride and responsibility, because I know how important it is for them to have these support networks when entering STEM fields, and I can now provide this for them. I feel as though this has made me more confident in myself as I'm taking every opportunity possible to share my experiences with others and encourage girls with an interest to become involved in these pathways.
Our second finalist is Janaya Ray.
My advice to young girls who are interested in the minerals and resource sector is to simply go for it. You won't regret it. There's not a lot of girls who are headstrong and brave enough to enter into a field which is male dominated. Don't be scared. Don't just push away your dreams. If that's what you really want to do, we'll do it. And anyway, it's our time to shine. We have.
And next is Emma Shepherd.
Throughout my time at Pioneer, I've been fortunate enough to attend and take part in numerous activities such as QMEA Science Olympiads and the Queensland University of Technology Mackay Process Engineering Challenge. I was fortunate enough to be selected as a QMEA ambassador for 2016, which involved travelling to Brisbane for a 3-day camp. This allowed me to network with other students, mining personnel and professionals in both the vocational and university pathways. It was a wonderful experience and I gained an insight into the technology advances in the resource industry.
Next is Sabrina Finucane.
My advice for young girls is just go for it. Like, I had people always telling me, especially guys, because there wasn't a lot of girls doing it at my time, but there is now. But they would always tell me, this is a guy's subject, you can't do it better than a guy. So I really like to prove them wrong. I went home every day, practiced welding with Dad, got him to show me how to do things. And they actually respect me now and come for help at school and ask for my opinion on things, which is really good.
And our last finalist is Abby Earle from Moranbah State High School, who doesn't have a video to share with us, but I'm sure sends us her regards. And the winner for the QMEA Exceptional Student for 2016 is Tara Turshak from Dysart. So Tara, now you have a little photo. Special thanks must go to BMA for making it possible for Tara to be here, and she was also accompanied today by her teacher, Susan. So well done, Susan. And Tara, you have to come and say a few words. Tara just has to come and say, don't be shy, come on. I can hold that for you if you like. There you go. Oh, here's one she's prepared earlier.
Yeah. As much as I appreciate this award and as grateful as I am for it, the greatest reward is being here on this significant day, International Women's Day, and having the opportunity to meet and hear the vast experience of such influential and inspiring women. As an aspiring young leader, it is experiences like this that will shape and strengthen my values of mentoring women in STEM careers for years to come. This would not have been possible without the continual and generous support of BMA and QMEA. And I would like to take this opportunity to publicly acknowledge their contribution not only to my school community, the Dysart community in the Central Highlands, but to their celebration and recognition of women in the minerals, energy and resources sector. If a girl wants to be an engineer, she can be an engineer. It starts with us.
So the next category for this morning is the Tradeswoman Operator Technician category. This award recognises the achievements of women working in trades as operators or technicians, which we may need, in the resources sector in Queensland and breaking new ground for women in non-traditional roles. The 2016 finalists are Carolyn Dobson. Come on up.
I like
Carolyn.
cars, but I would rather work on bigger, heavier stuff. It's more challenging, it's a bit more variety, it's just more fun, I like it more. I'm much stronger now than what I was when I first started here. Like physically and emotionally, definitely a lot stronger, and I can handle a lot more than what I could 3 years ago. When I was a first year, I was sort of a bit too scared to ask anyone for help. I thought I had to do everything on my own or I was never going to be as good as the blokes were, but I've sort of learned that it's better to ask for help than just trying to do it by myself. 3 years ago, I would have just thought, okay, this is my job today and I have to do this all by myself, or like the boys are never going to think I'm good enough, but now I'm not too scared to ask for help. If I need it, I need it. That's all there is to it.
And our next finalist is Alicia Elal.
Personally, it's built confidence, resilience. The roster is absolutely awesome with how much time you get at home. It keeps me active and outdoors. And yeah, for anyone chasing a career as a serviceman, I'd say go for it. It's not just a grubby, dirty job. Choose your path and follow it.
And after Alicia, our next finalist is Marianne Finch.
My current role here at Saraji Mine is a dragline operator. That would have to be my favourite part of my job, is actually operating the dragline, swinging the dragline, sitting in the seat and moving the dirt. I chose mining as it's a challenge. Operating machinery is a passion of mine and have been doing it for quite some time. Mining has helped shape me into who I am today. It's made me more confident and resilient in everyday tasks. My advice to women either entering into mining or whether you've been there for quite some time is to take the opportunity, go for it, prove yourself and don't back down. Enjoy your job.
Come on up, Marianne. I'm sure you're not shy after that video. And our next finalist is Erin Martins, who will be represented by Sean Hansen.
I researched the role and it looked really interesting, working on heaps of equipment. And if I choose to, in the end, you can specialise in heaps of different fields. And yeah, what I'm doing at the moment is really fun.
Go, Sean. Hard work, buddy.
Working here has made me come out of my shell a bit. It was quite daunting at the start because there were so many other workers around and I'm not used to that. Stand up and ask for stuff, whereas before I'd probably just be the quiet one and yeah.
And our last finalist is Karen Nye.
I've made a lot of good friends out here. I love the roster. The home-life balance is excellent. It gives me a lot of opportunity to go on holidays and do the things that I want to do and pursue my hobbies. I haven't stopped learning since I've been out here, and I love the teamwork environment.
So please congratulate all our finalists. And the winners are, first of all, we have 2 joint runners-up. And the first runner-up is Karen Nye. Back you come, Karen. And our second runner-up is Alicia Elal. Now, our overall winner for this category for 2016 is Marianne Finch. Congratulations, Marianne. Come on over and share some words. I'll hold your treats. There we are. Congratulations.
Thank you. Some of those speeches are pretty hard to follow, but I do have a really good team behind me now. Management, friends, and co-workers. It was pretty good to see Karen here. I didn't realise she was here. Yes, I'd just like to thank everybody, and my advice, my big thing has been never to accept mediocrity, just keep on going. And when you do get these roles, respect is earned and it's just not taken with the position. So, yeah, thanks everybody.
Okay, our next award is for the Exceptional Young Woman in Queensland Resources. Don't mind me multitasking, getting the next one ready so we can all chat at the end. This category is for an exceptional woman under 30 years of age. Some of us remember 30 fondly, some of us remember 40 fondly. So good on you, all the ladies in their 20s, who have worked in the resources sector for 1 to 5 years in any occupation. The 2016 finalists are Danielle Dendel.
To be honest, I didn't actually choose this occupation, I stumbled upon it.
And I choose this every day because I absolutely love it. I love being thrown a challenge, coming up with a solution, and seeing it all the way through to the end. The main advice that I would give to any female wanting to work in this industry is just get in here, see what it's like, find your passion, and the rest will take care of itself. Once you're here, the opportunities are completely limitless, and you'll be more than rewarded for your efforts.
Our second finalist is Claire Lavrenchik. I hope I'm saying that properly.
Working in the resources industry has seen me grow incredibly as a person. 3 years ago, I never imagined that I'd be managing at a centre in India that works with our teams in Australia to bring together innovative solutions and insights to improve productivity at our Australian mine sites. I believe my biggest growth has been in learning how to bring together a diverse group of people to form a cohesive team that work together to solve problems. I didn't realise when I started at Rio Tinto that my ability to explain problems and bring people together would become my biggest asset.
Our next finalist is May Go.
Ultimately, I really wanted a career in an industry that would allow me to do lots of traveling, which was why I chose oil and gas. And looking back at my past 4 years in the industry, I've had a lot of opportunities to work in different countries, and I've never looked back. Being in
Our next finalist is Catherine Marquardt.
Before I started engineering, I had a careers advisor at school ask me if I thought I'd manage in such a male-dominated industry. When I got to uni, I was pleasantly surprised at how accepting and unquestioning my peers were of my place there, and I think that each successive generation is getting better at that. So, for girls considering engineering, I tell them to go for it and not be scared of all of the war stories that other people tell, because I genuinely believe it's getting better. And it's incredibly rewarding to be able to look at the things that we've built and say, I was part of that. I made that happen.
And our last finalist is Natasha Naziri.
I feel incredibly lucky that the job's enabled me to live and work overseas. I've worked with a huge range of people from diverse backgrounds, and that's made me more open to change, a bit more flexible. And I do find the job demanding. Like, it pushes me outside my comfort zone, and the confidence and support from the people around me, I think, has enabled me to achieve more than I thought I could. So I think...
Congratulations to all our finalists. So the winners for the 2016 Exceptional Young Woman in Queensland Resources. A highly commended goes to May. And runner-up goes to Claire. And the winner for 2016 is Danielle. Now I think you need to stop for a snap. This guy runs the show. Note to self. Lovely. Would you like to share some words with us, Danielle? I'll stand beside you.
Thank you. No worries. Bit blind. Apologies to you all, please bear with me, as I found the perfect timing to be sick and to start losing my voice. Apologies for tomorrow. Thank you to Queensland Resource Council and WIMARQ for this award. It is an amazing honour and one that I'm very grateful to accept, especially in a room full of such an inspiring company. My mining journey so far has been life-changing, to say the very least. I never thought my move to Moranbah would see me working in an engineering team, managing a capital portfolio and executing projects. If I'm perfectly honest, I didn't think it would be outside of the family home. With the impending birth of my beautiful daughter, Sophie, not too far away, I was very conflicted on if I should be a stay-at-home mother, that I was being pushed into, or if I should follow the stirring feelings of returning to work to pursue a new career and discover my true passion. Fortunately for me, I was a contractor at the time, and money forced my hand into this decision that I wasn't quite brave enough to make on my own. At this point, I'd like to thank Cindy, a previous winner of this category. As I heard the snippets of your life, your story resonated with me and turned out to be exactly what I needed to hear to kickstart my new journey, and I can only hope that my story touches others in the same way. Being a single mother is incredibly hard, especially when you add in working full-time, studying, and being a present mother. Most of the time it feels almost impossible. Sophie and I have been able to achieve our goals by being surrounded with supportive friends, teammates, and one amazing manager. William, you have played an important part in the last 3 years, playing the role of not only my manager, my mentor, tutor, counsellor, life coach, and when needed, my reality check. I am forever grateful for your ongoing flexibility and support that has enabled me to forge my own path and live a life with Sophie I never thought was possible. Thank you to all. I'm very proud and honoured to accept this award.
I'm sure your beautiful daughter's so proud of you. What a wonderful winner. Now, a couple of tweets just to keep us up to date. Very proud of our finalists from HSC Mining. Congrats, Karen and I. Resilience, reinvention and humour. We do our best. I'm really digging, pun I'm sure, the Women in Mining and Resources Queensland Breakfast. Attracting and retaining women in resources sector is a job that starts at the top, from Madam FF. Not sure who that is. Now to the Gender Diversity Champion in Queensland Resources. This category recognises an individual, male or female, who has shown excellence in the encouragement, promotion and advocacy for attraction, retention and promotion of women within their company and or the Queensland Resources sector. The 2016 finalists are Rachel Durden.
For me, the tactics that I use to drive diversity in our workplace is one engagement at a time. So what I mean by one engagement at a time is I have critical conversations with key influencers and leaders within the business that will impact change. And through this, we develop practical actions that the leaders can own and drive through their organisations. An example of practical actions is mentoring women and sponsoring them. So going beyond mentoring, ensuring our recruitment processes are robust to be able to attract and maintain and develop the talent that we bring into the organisation.
And our next finalist is Chai McConnell.
The vision for gender diversity in the resources sector is very simple. My vision is that there is 100% equality between genders and in people who work in the
That's enough. I'll give you another tweet while Chai's coming up. Being comfortable with risk and reinvention is critical. Jeanette Hewson is awesome. Hooray for International Women's Day 2016. Feeling empowered by the amazing women and men in the room. Okay, the winners are, our runner-up is Rachel Durden. And I think that means, Chai, you're the man. 2016 Gender Diversity Champion. Come on over, have a chat. Oh, you need your photo, sorry, remember this guy.
Thank you. Wow, I didn't expect to actually be nominated or win this award, and all morning I was trying not to, be like Zoolander and steal someone's award. But ladies and gentlemen, firstly, I'm extremely humbled and grateful to receive this award. I'd like to thank the Women in Mining and Resources Queensland and the Queensland Resources Council for the award and your leadership in this space. I'd like to also acknowledge the other nominee. We're all doing great work in their respective organisations, to promote, encourage and advance gender diversity. A special thanks actually goes to my parents. They raised me to believe that what mattered was the content of a person's character and their actions, and not the rhetoric, their colour, their religion, their sexual preference or gender. My mother didn't actually get a chance to get a formal education because of warfare. She never lost sight of the principles and the values of what it was like to be a good human person and to actually encourage our whole family. And I grew up in a really small country town picking potatoes and milking cows, and with her love and encouragement, and my father's, I was able to be here, go to Harvard twice, and to work for an outstanding company like Worley Parsons and Advisian. So this one's for you, Mum. I'm blessed actually to work with amazing women in Worley Parsons and Advisian. Thank you to all the women in the Diversity and Inclusion Council. Special thanks goes to Sally Hayer-Garside and Nat Harper from the People Group. We've heard today about how hard it is in the resources sector, and Sally and Nat have been absolute champions in the corporate space, but also whenever we've had funding requests. They've never knocked back our requests for money, and to actually help us implement our program of making a real difference to our employees in the D&I space. It's been a huge team effort, and this award is actually shared with you too. Finally, thank you to Peter Brooks. Peter was the one that gave me my first job in Worley Parsons, and there's been many days I'm sure Peter regretted that. But he enabled me to try to make a difference to our organisation, and you've been a great mentor and a friend to me, Peter, so thank you. And last but not least, I'd like to thank everybody that attended today's breakfast. By coming here and celebrating International Women's Day, you're all champions for gender diversity, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our next award is the Excellence in Diversity Programs and Performance Award, which recognises QRC member companies who have shown excellence and innovation in gender diversity programs and demonstrated outstanding performance in increasing the proportion of women in their workplaces. The 2016 finalists are Horizon, represented by Katrina Bryan.
We're not all alike by any sense, and being different can actually be really good.
Gender diversity obviously is about the differences between men and women, and recognising the fact that men and women are different in a good way, in that we bring different talents to the table, different outlooks.
It's about partnerships between people.
Providing all people with opportunities.
It means that it's okay for me to have the same opportunities as my male counterparts, my male peers.
Look, it's just an opportunity for equality.
To help bring up the balance of gender representation in the company.
I see diversity through and through in our team.
And it's really about inspiring change and embracing change, and that's fantastic.
And we're moving ahead.
We're all humans, and therefore we should all get
the chance to shine,
success,
to be heard, really.
And understanding that it's not really a male-female thing, it's about recognising skills.
And thinking about ways that we can grow and develop people to be able to meet their potential as well.
Really, that gender shouldn't be a part of the debate anymore. It should just be about people working together.
I should say Katrina is VP Organisational Capability. Our next finalist is BHP Billiton Mitsui Coal, today represented by Scott Layton, Lead Organisational Capability from BHP Billiton.
When I began my time in coal, women in field were not a common sight. However, in the last 10 to 15 years, more and more women in the field have made a difference, changing the way we work, opening up different ways to do business, communicating and interacting in the workplace, and creating an environment adaptable to meet the challenges of the current economic environment.
Scott's having a shy moment. Nope, here he is. Our next finalist is Origin Energy, represented today by Heidi Cooper, Chair of Women's Energy Leadership League and Senior Manager, Government Relations.
WELL is an extraordinary success story. It was born out of creative minds and passionate hearts, and it's had a huge impact on diversity at Origin. WELL is a collection of volunteer women who come together to provide opportunities for women throughout Origin to progress their own career.
I loved the networking event. There was an enormous buzz and energy in the room with women sharing their experiences and supporting each other. I got to meet a whole group of women that I don't normally interact with day to day. We'll also organise regular skill development sessions with external consultants and coaches who come in to talk to us, introduce us to a new range of topics. I found the resilience coaching come at a really opportune time within the organisation, and I've taken some of those skills into my day-to-day practice.
Our members were asking for opportunities to establish mentoring relationships, and to do that we decided that the best thing to do was to get everyone into a room and let them connect, and it was a great success.
WELL's a fantastic organisation in Origin that helps us battle and improve upon this great goal we have of improving diversity. It's a great opportunity for women and for men to come together. You know, there are great meetings with great topics, external presenters, and then the social events are also a great way for people to get together and connect. I think WELL has been really instrumental in our pursuit of improving diversity in Origin.
Women in the field don't get much of a chance to meet other women or hear success stories. Our site-based sessions allow them to meet other women who work at other remote sites and also gain some skills in our skills sessions that they wouldn't normally get the opportunity to do in their everyday roles.
I threw my support behind the establishment of WELL when I could see that there were young women in the organisation who were trying to seek access to mentors and role models, looking for inspiration and support with their careers. I'm so proud of the way a few passionate individuals created enough momentum to now build a large membership and a program of networking and other opportunities that are giving women in Origin real support in their careers and confidence to look for new opportunities. WELL has been an extraordinary success story. From humble beginnings, a few people have really turned it into a program that's delivering excellent results.
It was amazing, watching something grow from something small to something so big, and then seeing everyone at Origin come together for its first White Ribbon Day event. It was fantastic.
Being a part of the WELL community has given me a chance to extend myself. I get to step outside my comfort zone and try things that I wouldn't normally do in my everyday role.
WELL works on the very straightforward principle that everyone can make a difference. Through a simple grassroots growth strategy, WELL has capitalised on the energy and passion that exists within Origin. Through this, WELL has been able to deliver a program that enables women at Origin to engage, connect and succeed in their own careers. I am so incredibly proud to be a part of WELL.
Now, I think the AV guys are looking for a discount on their Origin bill because they forgot to clip that. But it was a lovely presentation. And our last finalist is Rio Tinto, represented today by Greg Lillyman. Greg, lap of honour, come on up.
For over 140 years, Rio Tinto has been meeting the world's needs, supplying metals and minerals so the world can grow. From railways and smartphones to engagement rings and medical supplies, we help make the world work better. As the world changes, we remain a constant source of resourcefulness, and our values are constant too. Accountability, integrity, teamwork and respect. Our people keep them alive every day across 6 continents, behind the scenes, making a difference. Our values guide how we all work together through good times and tough times, committed to doing what we say we will do, delivering results by keeping our promises. As the world grows,
and the winner for the 2016 Excellence in Diversity Programs and Performance Award goes to Horizon. Dragging the chain, buddy. Congratulations, Katrina.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the Queensland Resources Council and the Women in Mining and Resources Queensland for this award. I would also like to acknowledge and thank Rio Tinto for sponsoring such an important event. It is certainly an honour to accept this award on behalf of our MD and CEO Lance Hockridge and our Horizon workforce. We have come a long way. We've still got further to go, but we've come a long way from where we started, and to achieve what we have in this time is a testament to the passion, authenticity, commitment and drive from Lance and his leadership group. As Michael said earlier, Horizon has over 150 years history, and with that, some have deeply held entrenched views about women and what they should and shouldn't do. It is for this reason that we have unashamedly taken an interventionist approach to driving diversity and inclusivity. We intentionally have taken our workforce out of their comfort zone. Steady as you go, slow incremental change was never going to work for us, as it would take decades to achieve anything. Lance's mantra has been, you cannot address inequality equally. If you keep doing things exactly the same way, nothing will change. So our approach was to shake things up, set audacious goals and targets, and hold ourselves and our leaders to account. We and our customers, as we've heard this morning, are in very testing times right now, and it would be easy to take our foot off the pedal and put our efforts on ice. However, to the contrary, when Lance was asked yesterday about this at our 4th Horizon Women's Conference here at the Convention Centre, he was very clear that what better time to work hard and reap the rewards of a diverse, capable workforce who are engaged and driven than now, who bring to the company innovative thinking and with that accelerated performance. The research has shown this time and time again of the commercial benefits to a company. The worst thing for our company would be a groupthink mentality and not challenging the status quo. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky now and just do a little bit of a promo. Last week we launched a shared care approach, which is really turning on its head the first year of caring responsibilities in a child's life and sharing that between a male and a female or a same-sex partner. We would love to share this information with other companies, and we've written to over 50 CEOs around Australia. And yeah, we think it's a great initiative and happy to share that information. We are very, very happy to receive this award in such esteemed company, and thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Now, if you haven't had a chance to put your business card in, I believe there's a couple of containers still zipping around. Feel free. Now to the final award, the Exceptional Woman in Queensland Resources. This award recognises exceptional achievement in the Queensland resources sector in any occupation. It notes the recipient's leadership skills, resilience, methods of overcoming barriers, seeking out and accepting new responsibilities and challenges, with a record of encouraging and mentoring other women in the sector, and her efforts towards building gender diversity within the sector, as well as contributions to the community. The 2016 finalists are Cecile Wake.
Working in the resources sector has just really made me grow and develop as a person. The international nature of the resources sector's given me the opportunity to live and to work in London for 9 years and to work on projects around the world, whether that's in Australia, Asia, Europe, the Middle East, Africa, Russia, Kazakhstan, and that can't help but just deeply enrich your life.
Our next finalist is Mel Gordon.
Ready? My advice to other women in the sector, or women considering a career in the sector,
is that the mining industry is a fantastic choice from a career path and for a life path. When I first started working, I expected this career path to be created for me. But what I've learned is that I needed to create and own that myself. Everybody wants something different from their work at different stages in life. And the mining industry has allowed me to adapt over the years to the point where I've now found that I can have both my work and my family as priorities. It doesn't need to be one or the other.
Well done to that very well-behaved little fellow. And also there's actually a couple of babies out here today who we have not heard a peep from. Wonderful effort, little people. And well done to the mums. Next finalist, Marsha Hanrahan.
For my next 20 years, I want to continue to modernise the workplace and the practices, to encourage, attract and retain the best people for the roles. And that begins with creating equal opportunities, regardless of age, gender and cultural background. I sincerely recommend to women mining and resourcing as a place for a career, especially for those who don't like to be pigeonholed, who love diversity in the work they do and the teams they're a part of.
Our next finalist is Adele Lorimer Samini.
My profession has changed my life by being able to succeed in something that I've never ever thought I'd have the opportunity to do. I started out as an administration assistant in a mining department and progressed through into my current position as a continuous improvement project manager for Hastings Dairy. It has allowed me to be the main income earner for my family and to be able to balance my career and my family life. I live to do what I do, and it's a passion.
Next is Maria Joyce. Maria has a fan.
I became a mining engineer because I was really excited by the opportunities it provided you. It's a really broad career. You could be a drill and blast engineer on site, and you could be working in the corporate world. So for me, there's not many jobs where you can actually turn up to work one day and get your hands dirty, and the next minute sit at a board level and impact the value of a project. And it really has delivered to all of my expectations. And it's really about community in mining, and that's a value that's really important to me.
And our last finalist is Dominique Vandenberg.
In the 15 years that I've been with BG, we've lived in four different countries. We've lived in Singapore, UK, Australia and Kazakhstan. And we've had the opportunity to meet amazing captains of industry, business leaders. I got a 6-month sabbatical, which we took to cycle through South America. And all of that is just a brilliant personal experience, which I think lends itself to becoming better leaders. And I didn't know what I wanted to do when I finished school. I knew I wanted to live a life that wasn't boring, and that's what this is what it's given.
So please congratulate our finalists. And this year, highly commended goes to Marsha Hanrahan. And runner-up goes to Mel Gordon. And the 2016 Exceptional Woman in Queensland Resources goes to Cecile Wake. Congratulations, Cecile.
Good morning, everyone. So I might need to lift that. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin by acknowledging and congratulating all of the finalists and winners for the awards today. It's an absolute privilege and really genuinely very humbling to be able to share an occasion such as this with such an impressive and dynamic group of women. I'd also like to say it's a great privilege and humbling to be able to follow on from Jeanette Hewson as a recipient of this award. I think we all heard this morning as she spoke, and certainly the Twitter sphere has recognised what an incredible person and leader Jeanette is. We started our interaction on the opposite side of quite a long and vexatious issue between the coal and gas industries with overlapping tenures. Through the leadership of Michael Roach and others, we had the opportunity to work together in a dual industry working group, and I'm very proud to say that Jeanette became a colleague, a peer, and a very dear friend through that process. So it's a great privilege to be able to follow on from Jeanette in that role. I'd like to thank the judges, the QRC board, Stuart as QRC president, Women in Mining and Resources Queensland, and today's major sponsor, Rio Tinto, for their ongoing commitment to fostering diversity and to attracting and retaining women in the resources sector. Awards like this are important, not so much for the recipients as for the broader industry. The QRC Women in Resources Awards shine a light on our pipeline of female talent in the industry. They shine a light on the exceptional careers that the resource industry offers all of us, because the resource industry really does offer us exceptional career opportunities. Whether we're in technical, professional, trade or field-based roles, the scale, complexity and economic significance of the projects that we work on provide incredible vehicles for growth and personal development. The resources industry has taken me around the world, and it's brought me home again, and I've loved every minute. A really big part of that is the people who work in the resources industry. They like to build things, and not just the engineers. They see opportunity where others see empty spaces, and they have the courage and ambition to invest vast sums of capital to safely and sustainably deliver our nation's prosperity. These are the sorts of people we get to work with every day. It's exciting and it's inspiring. I would especially like to acknowledge the QGC women who are here today and at International Women's Day events in Brisbane, Chinchilla and Gladstone, and all the men and women around the regions who are participating here today. QGC is fortunate to have had 4 finalists in this year's awards, and that's testament to both the calibre of the women at QGC, but also the quality of the QCLNG project, which we've helped to deliver. I'm so proud to be able to work with you and learn with you, or learn from you every day. Thank you. What I really hope is that in seeing today's finalists and winners, and in recognising that we're just like you, that other women here today and at all of the regional centres and in our businesses gain the confidence to set their expectations of themselves and of our industry a little bit higher and believe in themselves a little bit more. I hope they listen and take on board Li's very wise words. They're absolute inspiration, and they tell a story of setting personal expectations and resilience and courage and ambition, and I think that they're, as we reflect upon them, they are utterly inspirational. Finally, on a personal level, I'd like to thank my family for giving all of this a sense of purpose. My late father sparked my passion for this industry, but many others have nurtured it. Professor Alban Lynch at the JK Mineral Research Centre at UQ, Darren Fuchs, Andrew Smith and Ian Alfredson at Clayton Utts in the early days of my career. The inspirational Catherine Tanner, who gave me a reason to come home and the courage to leap into the unknown, and all of my colleagues at QGC and Shell Australia. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Cecile, and thank you so much to Heather, the Honourable Grace Grace and Stuart Butel for helping present the awards today. We are just about done. I'll now ask Heather Parry to come over and offer her vote of thanks. Thank you again to Rio Tinto for bringing the breakfast to us this morning. There's a couple of tweets left for you. Cecile took my last page, so I'm not sure what I meant to say. I think that's everything. Have a good time. You're all allowed back to work late. All yours, baby.
Before you leave, I've got something to take away the nerves.
Ah, yes. Thank you very much. Cheers. No worries.
Thanks, Susan. So, Susan Mallon, Mistress of Ceremonies Extraordinaire. I was absolutely relieved and very happy that she decided to come back for one last hurrah, but we'll get her back again next year with luck. So I just, maybe before you duck away, I just need to draw out the Lucky Door prize, and then I've got a few thank yous to go through. Sorry, love.
As you said, Michael, last year I said I wouldn't do it again. I had to go to New York with my friend, Miss Fatchin, just to escape this, so I'm going to have to book it in next year. In no particular
You're not allowed
order.
to look.
I know. There you go.
Benita Blunden from Integrated Energy Solutions.
I'll get the next one ready.
Benita's making her way up here. While Benita's making her way up here, Maria Rondon from Arrow Energy. And while Maria's making her way up, Susan Clark from Prescience Technology. Last but not least, Ryan Smethurst from Tees.
Oh, hello, how are you? How good are you? Thank you. And one more, Ryan. Ryan, you've got the loot.
You're done. Yep, tag out. So thanks to my co-presenters of the awards, Grace, Stuart Butel, Lee. You're an amazing storyteller. I don't know about anyone else, but I was transported to that performance where your parents walked in and I was crying along with the crowd. So very humbling. I took a lot away from that, and I'll definitely put my big girl pants on today and get on with my job with renewed vigour. Jeanette, very worthy winner last year, and just so you know, it doesn't end now. You'll probably, yes, we'll give you a call. There's other jobs to do. And good luck for the journey ahead. Good luck with your new role. I think your comments about reinventing and resilience is it's just so true. It's true to all of us as individuals, as companies, and as an industry. Thanks to the companies that are represented here today. So first and foremost, Rio Tinto as the key sponsor of today's event. Rio Tinto also sponsoring the WIPA event today. Origin Energy, New Hope and BMC as table sponsors for today's event. And out in our regions, we have Glencore supporting the Ernest Henry Mine breakfast and also the Mount Isa event. Wesfarmers for sponsoring the Curragh Mine event, which is at their SPQ. Susan, that's single person's quarters. Obviously, I haven't been in one of those recently. I can't say the same. I was living in the SPQ about 4 weeks ago. The BHP for helping us with the Townsville and Moranbah events, and also for bringing along our QMEA winner, Tara Toshak, and also the Mackay Industry Network for supporting the event that's being held in Mackay. So with these companies together and all of the supporters and helpers, we've reached over 1,000 people today with this event, which is just phenomenal. To the WIMARQ committee and in Brisbane, and also the WIMARQ ladies that support the regional centres, without your support, we just can't get these events happening. You provide the momentum to keep the events happening in the regions. You bring passion, energy, enthusiasm, and breathe life into WIMARQ. So thank you. And as Michael mentioned in his opening remarks, The award nominations were an amazing read. They took a long time to read, just amazing. So that just shows a depth of talent, right from our QMEA students coming through to our exceptional women in industry. So for the teachers that are supporting those QMEA students, and that's an extra job above your own jobs, and thank you for that. As testament to that, we recently had a graduate join our committee who was a QMEA student in Brisbane, went on to do mining engineering and is now a graduate mining engineer and on the WIMARQ committee. So it's definitely a good program. Our industry is in safe hands based on what I read in the nominations. There's a pipeline, a good pipeline through all the stages that shows that we've got a great future and plenty of talent. I'd like to sincerely thank my fellow judges, Michael Roach, Stuart Butel, Carolyn Morrissey and Jules Brown. It's a pleasure to judge the awards, and it's quite a responsibility as well, but we get a real insight into the careers of our industry leaders and upcomers, but also of the companies that they work for. And like Li's story, many of the success stories of the people in the room and the award nominees have had a coach along the way or a mentor. So that's why our mentoring program is so important to support. It's important for women to have advocates, supporters and coaches along the way to sponsor their careers along. I'd like to thank Michael Roach, Stuart Butel and the rest of the QRC for its continued support of diversity, and a very special mention to Caroline Morrissey, who I can see out there doing something technical right at the back of the room. She's trying to hide. So she's a powerhouse in heels. She's tirelessly works to keep this going year after year, so thank you. Thanks to Helen Baker for the Lucky Door prizes, and to all the award recipients. A little bit of technical information here. When you leave now, you need to go out of the doors, up to the first, sorry, I'm getting instructions, out this way, out these doors, up the stairs, yes, for photographs, please. Look for Caroline, she's at the back of the room there, she will help you out. And also we've got the room until 9:30, so we've tried to get through these proceedings pretty quickly. Oh, it is, it's 9:30. So there's a bit of time to network, but you can network in the foyer. Thanks very much, everybody.